Good morning, dear students. In the previous two classes, we also discussed about the questions of chapter 4 heat, and today we will discuss about the last part of this chapter 4 heat, and we will discuss more questions. Okay, so let's start the discussion of questions chapter 4 heat now. The handle of pressure cooker is covered with the thick plastic. Explain why. We all know plastic is not a good conductor of heat. It's a poor conductor. It's a poor conductor and it do not allow the passage of heat. Okay. So uh, the handle, the heat that is produced in the cooker does not flow to its handle, and we can hold it easily. That's why this is the reason because of which the handle of pressure cooker are covered with the thick plastic. Okay, we all know when something is being cooked in the pressure cooker, then heat will be produced over there, and then heat will move from one point to another point, and to provide insulation between our body and the cooker, we use thick plastic so that we can protect ourselves from being the heat. Okay, let's move to next question. Now, prove with the help of an experiment that the heat radiation can travel through vacuum. First of all, take a flat bottom flask and fix a rubber stopper having two holes in the mouth of the flask. Shift a thermometer through one hole and a glass tube with a stopper through the other hole. Now, with the help of a vacuum pump, remove the air from the flask and try to record the temperature of the thermometer. Put a flask in the bright sunlight, and we will see that the thermometer records a rise in temperature. So on this basis we can say that this experiment proves that heat radiation can also travel through vacuum. Okay, that's why we told the radiations do not need any medium to travel. Okay, and by this simple experiment we are able to prove this also. So let's move to next question. Now observe the pictures given in the figure. Water is being boiled in a pan of wide base. So which position P or T will feel warmer? As in the given diagram, the position P will feel warmer because of the heat. Air rises. Okay, the air will move in the upward direction due to heat, so the point P will feel more heat. Next part is fill up the box P and T to indicate the mode of flow of heat to the hand. The flow of heat to P is a convection process, and the flow of heat to the T is a radiation process. Okay, two process of transfer of heat will take place in this simultaneously. One is convection, that is at P, and other is heat at T. Okay, let's move further. Now, for setting curd, a small amount of curd is added to warm milk. The microbes present in the curd help in setting up if the temperature of the mixture remains approximately between 35 degrees Celsius to 40 degrees Celsius at places where room temperature remain much below the range, setting of curd becomes difficult. So suggest a way to set the curd in such a situation. Okay, got it? What is being asked from you in this particular questions? Basically, if you want to convert the milk into curd, so what are the temperature conditions required over there? Okay, let's try to understand. For setting of curd where temperature is below room temperature, the container in which curd is to be made must be kept in a thermally insulated cover, or it can be wrapped with wool or jute so that the temperature is remains or maintained for setting of curd. बेसिकली हमें एक पर्टिकुलर टेम्परेचर प्रोवाइड कराना पड़ेगा जिसकी हेल्प से हम कर्ड मिल्क को कर्ड में इजीली कन्वर्ट कर पाएंगे. ओके, सो you need to maintain that particular temperature, and if the temperature is below, then you must use or heat the milk at a temperature and then kept it covered or wrapped with the jute or the wool also. Okay, let's discuss more questions. Now, state the limitation of clinical thermometer. What are the limitations of a clinical thermometer? It cannot be used for measuring the temperature of any body more than 42 degrees Celsius. Okay, if we kept in the sun or near a flame, the clinical thermometer can be break down. Okay, very important step to note or to take care or to precautions before using a clinical thermometer. We must avoid putting the clinical thermometer in the sun or near the flame. Okay, let's move further. Next question. Explain in brief why we wear dark colored clothes in winter and light colored clothes in summer. Very easy to answer. In junior classes also you have studied about these kind of questions. We all know the dark colors are good absorber of heat. So in winter we need to keep our body warm, and we all know the dark color clothes absorbs more heat of all the radiations coming from the sun, whereas the light colored clothes reflects most of the heat radiations coming from the sun that falls on them, and therefore we feel more comfortable while wearing them in summer. Okay, dark color clothes good absorber of heat, that's why they use in winter. Light color clothes, they are very good reflector of heat, so they are more comfortable for summer. Okay, let's move further. Explain the reason for the shiny reflector of room heaters. Since the shiny surface absorbs very little heat, due to which the reflectors reflect all the heat, which makes the room heater more effective. Okay, so due to this reason room heaters have shiny reflectors. Okay, if they are not shiny, then they will absorb more heat and it will not be possible for the room heater to provide sufficient amount of heat in the room. Okay, let's move further. Describe the effects of heat. The effects of heat are: when an object is heated, then it becomes hotter, and may be possible that the expansion will be in that also. So in this heat may change the state of the body. This heat may change the state of the body like ice, and can get change into the water also. Okay, ice will got converted into water, and if the temperature will be lower, then it can again go back to ice. Heat sometimes act as a catalyst to speed up some chemical reactions. As I told you, catalysts are those substances which do not take part in any chemical reactions, but they definitely help the reaction to take place. Next is heat can even kill the bacteria as well. Very important factor, very important point to note down. Okay, so the effects of heat are, it may heat will after getting heated the object will expand. Sometimes it can act as a catalyst, helpful in chemical reactions, can kill bacteria also. Next question. The freezer is located at the top of the refrigerator. Explain why. The freezer is located at the top of the refrigerator. This is because air inside and around the compartments of freezer gets cool and move downwards, and on the other side lesser cool air moves upward to get cooled. Okay, so as a result of this, convection of heat are set up in the air, and the tower section of the refrigerator also gets cooled faster. Got it? We all know on heating air rises. Okay, so to cool, to produce maximum cooling effect in the refrigerator, the freezer is located on the topmost side. Okay, let's discuss some more questions. Now explain the reason for a general fitting of air conditioner at higher level on the wall of the room, as a fact that warm air is much lighter than the cold air. So being heavier, the cold air from the air conditioner moves downward, while as the hot air moves upward at the lower level. Hot air moves upward at the lower level and gets cooled and come downwards, cooled and come downwards once again. So due to this convection of heat, are set in the air, the room gets warmer faster. Okay, we all know when air is hot it will move upward and the cold air will move downward, so they are installed at a higher place on the wall that the cold air will move downward and it can produce much more cooling in the room. Next question. Briefly explain why do the kites and eagles fly without flapping their wings? Very interesting to know. Why do the kites and eagles fly without flapping their wings? As it is a fact that the hot air during the daytime surrounds the land gradually and rises up, due to which a convection air of heat develops. So the kites and eagle starts moving along this rising current of heat without flapping the wings to fly high up in the sky. Okay, next question. At a campsite there are tents of two shades, one made with black fabric, other made with white fabric. Which one you prefer for resting on hot summer afternoon? Give your reason for your choice. Would you like to prefer the same tent during winter? Definitely we will prefer, in first case we will prefer white fabric tent in case of summer, because reflects all the radiations from the sun and keeps us cool inside the tent. But reverse will be the case in winters. We should not use white fabric tent. We should use black fabric tent, as it absorbs all colors of light from the sun and keeps us warm inside the tent. Okay, got it? Very easy to understand. For summer, it is white fabric tent, reflects all the radiations. For winter, it is black fabric tent, it absorbs maximum of the radiations. Question number 16. Briefly explain maximum and minimum thermometers. Maximum and minimum thermometers are special thermometers which automatically record the maximum and minimum temperature of the day. The maximum and minimum temperature of the last day reported in weather reports in TV and newspaper are measured by the maximum and minimum thermometers. Okay. Next question. Explain the reason of serving of tea in China, clay cups and plastics. Tea is generally served in China clay cups and plastics because China clay is a bad conductor of heat which do not allow the heat to pass through it and hence keep the tea hot also. Okay. Next question. Describe briefly about the direction of convection current during ventilation. Direction of convection current during ventilation. Question is, since with the help of ventilators, warm air being higher gets rises up. Warm air being higher gets rises up. Garam hawa upar की side जाएगी and leaves the room. Okay. Even the fresh air enters the room from outside through the doors and the windows. Okay. Got it? Next question. Explain the reason for wrapping of ice cream in gunny bags. We all know. Since we know that gunny bags consist of number of fine pores which are filled with air, as air is a bad conductor of heat, so due to this reason it does not allow the external heat to move inside and melts the ice. Heat to move inside and melts the ice. That's why the ice kept in gunny bags. Next question. The clinical thermometer is not used to measure high temperature. Why? We have already discussed a similar question earlier also. The clinical thermometer has the range of 35 to 42 degrees Celsius. If we use it to measure high temperature, it may break and the mercury present in the clinical thermometer is harmful. So we cannot use clinical thermometer to measure high temperature. Got it? Got it, dear students? The basic reason behind you not using the clinical thermometer for high temperature is it may break down. Okay, and it is the mercury will also prove harmful to us, so that we must avoid using clinical thermometer at higher temperature. Okay, so dear students, in this way we are able to wind up this chapter 4, heat. We have discussed its question answers in 3 parts, as well as we have already discussed about the theory portion of this chapter. So in next class we will start next chapter, dear students. Till then, do one thing, revise this chapter properly, okay, and do your work properly. Okay, so try to learn more and more about the concepts discussed. Okay, thank you so much, dear students.